A poetic essay, my first birthday. There is a kind of birthday that arrives without a phone call. No voice crackling through the receiver the way it always did, early, before you were even fully awake, to say your name like it was the whole point of the day. This is that birthday. The first one where the silence before noon is not peaceful but absolute. And you stand in it, 50-something years deep into this life, and you think, so this is what orphaned feels like. Not a child's orphaned. A grown, gray-templed, laugh-lined orphaned. It turns out the word still fits. The candle burns the same. It does not know who is missing. It only knows up. They were the ones who remembered the original day. Not just the date on a calendar. Anyone can remember a date, but the story. The weather. The hour. The way the room smelled. What was on the radio. How small your fist was around a finger. That specific knowledge is gone now. Passed out of the world with them, and no amount of searching through old photographs will recover it. You are, for the first time, the oldest living authority on the fact of your own beginning. It is a strange promotion. Middle dot. So you do what the grieving do on days that demand celebration. You feel everything at once, and you let it be contradictory. You light a candle not because anyone told you to, but because light in a dark room is the oldest human argument against despair. You pour yourself something. You put on a song they would have hated, and you dance badly in the kitchen, and you cry, and both of those things are the same gesture. I am still here. I am still here, and I can feel it. The grief does not arrive dressed like grief. It comes in wearing the smell of a birthday cake from a bakery you passed once when you were 7. It comes in laughing. And then something unexpected. A cousin you hadn't spoken to in decades sends a message, just a few words, nothing elaborate, and suddenly you are holding the whole architecture of a childhood in your hands. You had forgotten that she knew you when you still ran everywhere, when the world was the size of a backyard. She remembers things. She is a living archive of the person you were before you knew you were a person. You read her words 3 times. A warmth moves through you that is older than any grief. It is the warmth of being known. This is the paradox the day keeps handing you. The most devastating thing that has ever happened to you is somehow making the world larger. Loss carves out space. Space fills with what was always there, just too crowded out to see. The second cousin who has your mother's eyes. The uncle who tells the same joke your father used to tell and doesn't know it. The childhood friend who surfaces like a message in a bottle, improbably intact. Middle dot. You find yourself thinking about being 6, 8, 11. The absolute faith of a child that the people who love them will always be there. How reasonable that faith was. How long it held. How generously it was honored. Your parents gave you decades of answered calls, of remembered birthdays, of love so consistent you forgot to call it a gift. That is not nothing. That is, in fact, almost everything. And the fact that it has ended does not erase the fact that it happened. 50-something years of being known by the people who made you. Some people never get 50 days. To be grateful for what hurt you, not despite the hurt, but through it. This is the whole curriculum. So this is your first birthday. The first one you have had to construct entirely yourself, from scratch, like learning to make the recipe now that the person who made it is gone. You gather what you have, the flicker of a candle, the grace of the appeared faces, the ache that is just love with nowhere left to go. You make a table out of memory and you set it. You sit down at it alone, and then you are not alone, because the dead have a way of filling the chairs that were made for them. You blow out the candle. You make a wish. You don't say it out loud. You never say it out loud, but you know what it is. It is the same wish you have always made, the one that never quite changes. You are 50-something years old and you still make the same wish. Maybe that is the most childhood thing of all. Middle dot. Happy birthday. Happy is a complicated word today, and you are allowed to mean it completely anyway. You were loved into existence by people who are gone. You were shaped by hands that are still. You carry their faces in yours, their laugh in your laugh, their stubbornness, their softness, their specific way of standing in the doorway. They are not here and they are not nowhere. You are the ongoing proof of them. You are, after all this time, still becoming the person they believed you would be. That is worth the candle. That is worth the whole damn cake. For everyone who has ever celebrated while holding an absence.